Welcome to The Happy Writer, a show about creating and sustaining a long-term author career. My name is Patty Jansen, writer of science fiction and fantasy. I've published independently since 2011. This show covers motivation, diversification, learning new skills, and your place in your career. Come on in and be happy. In episode 24 of The Happy Writer, I'm going to talk about a subject that makes happy writers very unhappy, namely the tendency to compare ourselves to others. This can be a problem early in your career when you simply need to be more patient, or later on when you're seeing other authors who are having much more success despite having fewer books and having been publishing less long. It can be very debilitating and frankly sucks the life out of your enjoyment. Don't think that just new writers suffer from this, because I don't know a single writer who does not suffer from it at least occasionally. Some writers are able to channel that angry energy into production or other positive energy, but for most of the normal people, like the rest of us, it just kills our enjoyment. Other people make sanctimonious statements such as, "I don't look at these things," or "I'm happy for other people when they do well and cheer them on." But it's impossible for most of us to either avoid all author gatherings or to pretend we're endlessly enjoying the success of others. And besides, that wouldn't be very enjoyable either. I mean, come on, don't be such a sanctimonious you-know-what's-it. You're having feelings you can't repress and you can't deny, and to be honest, you shouldn't. It's not healthy. So, short of having a good rant to your best friend or using a punching bag in the garage, what to do? In the first place, it's always a good thing to educate yourself. If you see someone else having a lot of success doing a particular thing, realize that this is only one aspect of their career. It is impossible to see what someone else's author business looks like from the sidelines. You don't know how much time or money people are spending into certain tactics. You have no idea how much advertising they do. You don't know about all the things they don't have time for. And you don't know about the places where you sell and they don't even have their books up. But the reality is there will always be someone who is more successful than you. When you're around for a long time, you will also see that a lot of people burst onto the scene like a flash in the pan and are gone a few years later. They burnt out, or they simply didn't enjoy it anymore. I think the best way to look at your career is to look at things you can change and consider your lifestyle rather than the amount of money or success you want to have. If you keep publishing and you keep making your books better, and you work at becoming better at advertising or build up a stable of activities that work for you, then eventually you will have some success. Unless you lose the enjoyment of writing and stop it altogether, but in that case you've probably found something else to do, and that is okay too. So many people who you're enviously watching are on completely different pathways. They have a lot of time. They have a lot of really good ideas that just pour out of them. They have a particular gift for telling a particular type of story and have hit the market really well. You can't repeat that, and you shouldn't be tempted to try. It's pointless trying to be someone else. You can only be yourself. Writer income is only half the story. Even if it is your aim to make a living with your writing, keep in mind a backup plan that you could pursue instead. Making a living with an artistic pursuit is not easy, and you may luck into something that is easier. I have seen people start as writer and then become successful editors, podcasters, or cover designers. Some people found that they are very good at marketing but don't like writing so much, and they went on to publish other people's books. The best thing to do is to view your career as a moving object and to find out what works for you, and if you have something that is doing quite well, you do more of that. When a new trend comes along, you may want to have a look at it to see if it is something you would like to do, and then, if you decide you do, try it. Above all, it has to be something that you enjoy doing, And jumping into a trend because people look like they're making a lot of money is probably not a good idea, if that's your only reason. In the first place, when you're just looking at it from the outside, you don't have a full picture of what is involved. People think that being a writer means sitting down all day and writing. The truth is that after you have a couple of books, you will probably have to start doing more marketing. There are writers who keep their careers alive purely through writing a book a month, but I would find that extremely mind-numbing. I couldn't do that. So instead of just shutting yourself off from other people and their success, look at it with a view of trying to learn something from what they're doing. Try to see if it is something that you like to do. For example, a number of years ago when authors started to talk about having mailing lists, I knew straight away that this was something I wanted to do. When I was a kid, I had pen friends in a lot of countries. I was always very much into writing letters or emails and enjoyed that sort of thing. I had also seen in a different business how much a single mailing of a list of available items can sell. So if you combine the two, the activity seemed cut out just for me. It is no use for me to try and compare myself with people who do loads of advertising, because I am not ever going to be the person who spends $40,000 a month on ads in order to earn $60,000. I don't mind if you are, but there is no point for me to become jealous towards people who need to sell $100,000 worth of books a month so that they can pay their advertising bills and have some money on top. I would much rather earn less and not do so much advertising. My actual income, after advertising costs are deducted, might not be all that different. There is also not much point either for me to try to compare myself with authors who write a book a month or who write in very popular trends. I know I'm not wired that way, and while sometimes I lament that I don't have anywhere near the success they do, there is nothing I can do about it. I have tried, but it just ends up making me feel miserable. If you are going to make a living as an artist, foremost you have to do something that you enjoy and that you can do long term. That thing will probably change throughout your life. How well you end up selling is guided by the way you write and a decent dose of luck, but most of all it's guided by persistence. You can slowly build an audience and cater to just your audience, or you can continuously chase after trends in order to catch that elusive bestseller. You might be lucky, but by the same token, and much more likely, you will not. Then you will give up in frustration, die from comparisonitis, and be quite unhappy. Fame is not something you can control. Aspiring to it is not really useful. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try, but you should be mentally in a place where it is okay if it doesn't happen. Fame is also highly relative. To be a person everyone knows is quite unlikely. I'm not really sure if you'd want that anyway. But you can be your own famous person in your own audience, even if that audience is very small. Derive your satisfaction from interactions with readers you already have and who already like your work, rather than the readers that you don't have, the readers that other people have, and that you may never get. Knowing yourself and accepting the way you are is the key to being and remaining a happy writer. Thank you for listening to the Happy Writer Show. Check out links and information about other episodes on my website at pattyjansen.com, where you can also find out about my books. You can support me by subscribing to the show or on Patreon at patreon.com/pattyjansen.